This is a 1998 Nissan Skyline R34 coupe. We got a running driving car. It had, I believe, 14,000 kilometers on it. We have a Euros Monkey Magic Type RR body kit. So that's the front bumper, front bulge fenders, front over fenders, side skirts, side splitter, rear over fenders, rear bumper, and wing. That was supplied by Mastermind North America. They're the plug here in the US if you need anything JDM. Then we have the rotiform wheels. So we have the RBQ, which is the 4 spokes, same like we had on our, or have on our Nissan 350Z if you guys have seen that. And then we also have the USF, which is the 3 spokes. Those aren't on there right now, but we have a pair of fronts and then a bunch of rears of those as well, so we can kind of switch up the style. Those are like my 2 favorite wheels in the whole world, so I was like, could not decide between the 2 on this. So we're running 255, 35, 18. So the tire is actually square setup. The wheels, front and rear, are both completely different, but square setup tires, so we have really good grip up front. And then this is the size that they allow us to run for Formula Drift Pro 2. So while we're in this series, we'll be running the 255. We're running Willwood brakes, front and rear. So this is like a S chassis bolt-on kit, 2-piece rotor. And then the rear is just kind of they don't really make a kit for S chassis. So it's just pistons we liked or calipers we liked, dual caliper. So one set for the handbrake, other set for the foot brake. We have our Sabon DS carbon fiber hood. So usually it would have kind of like on the old school 240s and things that have like all the louvers here, but we cut that out so we could show off our beautiful motor, which we'll get to in a second. So Sabon hood, Sabon carbon doors, Sabon carbon trunk. Seriously, we did everything on this thing. There was a hole here for the brake light and the key. We actually shaved those and got rid of them because we didn't need them and I wanted like a smoother look. One of my favorite little details on this car that I bet a ton of you haven't even noticed, these are authentic e-spare mirrors. So it was like the one set I could find on the internet, and so I got them, so I'm super stoked on these. So they were used, we freshened them up, repainted them. So there's a lot of cool little JDM details that we did on this thing. We took just the factory headlights, pulled them open and painted everything, and then did dual projectors with dual demon eyes. And then we also put these nice little carbon fiber eyelids on to give it a little meaner look. Another cool detail that we did on the kit is usually the gas fill is right here, but now we put it back here. So we have our fuel safe cell with a dry brake on it. So since we mounted that there, we ended up shaving the big hole that would have been here. So it's just little details like that where it's like normally maybe unnecessary for a race car or a drift car, but we really wanted this thing to be like a show car as well, something that we could actually bring to a car show and it could potentially win that. Not that we'll necessarily do that, but that's just the level of detail we wanted to go to. So then in here, we don't really need to open this, but RBs are awesome. RBs are awesome. We literally run RBs in our demo car and our practice car. But as far as, Aaron's shaking his hand a little bit. He's more of a Jay-Z guy. No, I seriously, RB, like if I wasn't running a competition car in the US, any other car, I'd probably run an RB in it. So, but this thing, we wanted maximum power, maximum reliability, and this thing fucking sounds badass. Like, you guys cannot probably tell from the videos, but once you hear this thing in person, you'll be like, Jesus Christ, that is sick. It sounds like demons coming out of hell or something. This is not your junkyard LS. This is a CBM Motorsports 425 cubic inch LS3 with a 4-liter Whipple supercharger on it. So it's fully forged, built heads, built top to bottom, still aluminum block. We're waiting to do like a RHS block or something like that until we need more power. Right now it's at 950 at the crank on Ignite Red. They're supplying the fuel for us. So this thing is a freaking animal and it sounds so unreal. You guys will love it when you hear it in person. We did move the radiator to the back, and then we needed some type of cooling system because the supercharger uses water to cool the supercharger as well as the air coming in. So we used just a drop-in radiator shroud and fan kit for an S chassis and used that actually for our supercharger cooler. Cool thing about R34 chassis is like everything is so beefy. They planned on racing this car. As you guys know, they use them in all sorts of type of racing. So all this kind of like this is all factory sheet metal that Nissan went in to strengthen the strut towers. You can tell they're like boxier. If you compare this to like an S chassis or even a 32, they'll be a little bit more rounded off, but they did everything they could to make this chassis as stiff and strong as possible. So that was not only for the cool factor of it just being an R34, but that was one of the reasons I thought this would be potentially like the best drift platform on earth, is some of these things that you're seeing here. And then we went in and strengthened it even more. So we put in like these down bars, and what we try to do is, if you can see here, there's like literally almost like an I-beam structure that goes around here. This is kind of like shit's really bad zone, but we're trying to protect all this stuff. And then out here, we have bash bars that will crush. And I mean, if we lose a headlight or fender or bumper, that's fine, but this stuff will be safe in the event of a crash or contact. Something that I didn't necessarily plan on being a detail people would really even notice, but these windows are really freaking cool. These are built by Plastics for Performance. They're not a partner of ours. I just like their products. They're like, look like factory windows with the way they shape them, cut them, and then even do like the border. So the coolest one is probably like on the side windows. It literally has the black dots like that fade out just like from the factory. So that's something that's like, everybody that sees it has been like, wow, it's really cool. Where'd you get those? So another cool thing, look at the tech stickers, guys. We went above and beyond. They're English with Japanese translations. So mostly for cool factor, but if we did go run this in Japan, they'd be able to read it. So that would be dope if they weren't already bilingual. But let's move on the inside. So on the inside, we wanted to go, the whole cage is chromoly, so we wanted to go for something that was not only safe, but also lightweight. So I'm really a fan of this style door bar where it has this like sharp point and it's triangulated, and then we also triangulated it down at the bottom. This is something we stole from rally cars, kind of this like secondary A-pillar or down bar. That's in case of a rollover or contact right here. It's gonna keep it from crushing in. And then we did the Bride FIA seats with the halo on them. Those are pretty new product, as well as these sick-ass belts. Schroth, probably like one of the only non-JDM things, but these belts are just so damn nice, and the blue and yellow match so well. Got a little Bride pillow here as well. So then we did, obviously, the Vertex wheel. You gotta have that. We do that in all the drift cars and even the Tacoma. And Ziza Keys Racing, but yeah, like my favorite steering wheels. Please sponsor me, guys, if somehow you watch this. Gotta have the Katana handbrake. You guys know it's my freaking trademark. If you don't, it's my trademark. We do it in all my drift cars. So this was kind of a different one. It was like an ivory, and they didn't want us to run much blade in Formula Drift, so that's why we cut the entire blade off of this one. Usually we run like a good chunk of the blade so you guys can see it as a real Katana. The other cool thing is with this handbrake, because everything's pretty tight, like in between the seat and the trans tunnel, we ran it, again, stole that from rally racing and ran like a rally style handbrake. So it has a rod with the master cylinder actually way back behind the seat. And so you can it actually works as well or even better than one mounted right next to it. And you can get everything way behind you and have more room up there. We did a removable trans tunnel as well, so that makes it really easy to work on. You can take top and side panels off if you need to get to anything on top of the transmission, or even if you just want to get to the bolts on the bell housing and pull it off the motor. Shifter as well, got to keep it JDM, so we did the carbon shift knob. I thought it was super dope, something super functional, and still keep it, you know, in the Japanese feel. The whole car is on Motec electronics, so we got the Motec screen placed nicely right behind the steering wheel, so I can see that, keep an eye on all the vitals. And then we kind of polished off the inside with ostrich wrap dash. Gotta have the ostrich, so gotta keep it hot boy. So we're running field suspension 442s in the front and 443s in the rear, so we can completely dial in our rebound and compression and get this thing gripping up when we need it. As well as mated with the best Wise Fab suspension. So this is the R33/R34 angle kit, and then the rear is same as S chassis, so it's just a S chassis Wise Fab kit. This is paint. not wrap. So King's Auto Body Shop out in Los Angeles, super awesome guys. It's first year with them on board. They ended up, after we stripped the whole car down and did all fab work, we powder coated the chassis, kind of a Ferrari red, and then they ended up painting the whole outside and all the body kit in our special Haugen Racing yellow. So it's the same paint that we used on the Z, and whenever we do this color theme, that's the paint we use. And so those guys did an awesome job spraying the whole kit. And then to really make it pop and tie in our colors, tie in our livery, we had Super Wow Factory design us this crazy livery. So all these stickers, like the stars, livery, and all these are individual layered stickers on top of the paint, rather than like a printed wrap or something like that. So we do have printed wrap up here though, which is pretty cool. We'll point that out in a second. But the stars are actually reflective, that Super Wow printed on top of, so they gradient from like black reflective down to kind of a yellow reflective, similar color to the paint. This is super cool. So this is on the roof is actually our same logo, our Smoke Signals Tour 2019 that we have on all our t-shirts. So one of the themes with this car was stars. So I actually found these guys, Illumisthetic. I found them on Instagram and hit them up, and they were like, hell yeah, we can do something crazy with them. And so we ended up coming up with this idea of actually doing stars as the actual lights. So what you're seeing right here is the running lights. And then when we hit the brakes, the stars actually just brighten up, just like a normal tail light. So super cool detail, and we ended up having to make us a couple sets of these, so if we do blow them up on the wall, put new ones back on. So obviously this is not a GTR chassis, but I wanted to build what my like dream car, dream GTR, dream Nissan Skyline would be. And so we dubbed this the HR Skyline. We wanted to make it look like it's something you could potentially see on the street. I mean, there's no way you could drive this on the street, but so we put a Japanese license plate on it. 33 is my favorite number, my lucky number, so I was able to find this online and then bent it up in the Bosozoku fashion. In the back, we wanted to make the rear end as soft as possible, as well as keeping everything, all the vital components safe. So we put the radiator, fuel cell in the back, and tucked them way up, did another kind of an I-beam structure like the front. It's actually two pieces of square stock that are welded together, and it's fully detachable. And then we have bash bars hanging off of that, so that's kind of our crushable structure. And then the main structure that is, if somehow we get super deep into the wall or in a crash or something, that keeps all the vital stuff safe. And then to kind of hang all the panels and keep them so that you can kind of like move them around, see? So they actually have some flex to them. Delrin rods, so it's kind of like a rubbery plastic rod that keeps like the fenders up and the tail lights up, and so everything mounts and everything's kind of flexible and can move around. So you can kind of rub the wall and it'll push in and come back out. So thank you guys for watching our Nissan Skyline R34 build breakdown.